Hey everyone, I'm Kevin. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Thanks for stopping by and checking out this video. It's a bit cold here today, so I figured I will start things off inside. And then here shortly we'll take a step outside of the garage and we'll take a look at the car, which is, after all, what I'm talking about today. And I figured you all came to really see and not see me. So the car that we'll be seeing here in just a little bit, it's a 1997 Mazda Miata. This past year in 2020, of course, it being crazy thanks to COVID, I decided to pick up a new hobby. Track days, HPDE, high performance driving education, whatever you'd like to call it. So yeah, last year was my first year. I did 5 track days. Started out with my daily driver, but like just about everybody who does this, I fell in love with it pretty quickly. And in the off season, I bought the Miata, and that is primarily going to be my car on track now. Well, it will be my car on track now. I might drive it around a little bit outside, but primarily it's going to be a track duty car. So, a little bit about it. Bought it from my buddy Jeff. He bought it in 2019, and I'm actually kind of stealing this idea, whatever you like to call it, from him. He had no service history on the car when he bought it. So as he got to work getting the car running, it wasn't in a running state when he purchased it. He filmed himself doing all the work on it and status updates as he was working on it. So I figured I'd do the same thing. I'll keep a live journal of the work I do on this car, just so there is a service history to it. And if I ever sell it to someone else, they'll at least know. I'll be able to show them what what all was done to the car to keep it in good working order. So without any further ado, why don't we take a step outside in the garage and we'll take a look at it, because I'm sure you guys would rather look at the car instead of my face. So again, thanks for stopping by, and next you'll see me, we'll be out in the garage. All right, welcome to my garage. Here she is. Again, those of you who may know Jeff will recognize this car as Project 97. It is the very Project 97 that you may have seen some of his videos on. So this was my purchase. She's a bit dusty right now, sharing the garage with my wife, who's doing some woodworking projects. So as you can see, we've got all of our stuff set up here, a couple saws, some benches over there. So I do need to get it. Do need to wash her again before I get to work on getting ready for the season, which actually is going to be starting probably a lot quicker than I expected to. March 7th and 8th is our first weekend on track. So a little bit of upgrade stuff I have planned before then, and possibly some maintenance work in the engine bay. I'll talk about that when we get there. So let's take a walk around the exterior, and then we'll move into the engine bay inside and then wrap things up. First thing, we do have a hardtop on her, which I love. All of you Miata enthusiasts probably know that this past year has been crazy for both Miata and hardtop pricing. Prices have just gone up and basically through the roof. I think I recently saw a hardtop, really good condition with the frost, and I think the user was asking something like $1,900 for it. So, I'm glad to have this. Glad it's not something I have to pay for after the fact. Just because, again, with the way pricing is going these days, I don't know what I'd pay for it. So. All right, moving on, coming down to tires, wheels, and brakes. So both tires and wheels on this currently are discontinued. The tire is a Kumo, it's a Exta ASX, and the wheel, I don't know exactly, but it is some sort of progressive. The tire, it's a 205/50 R15. These tires are 10 years old. Basically, we just slapped them on here to get the car from Jeff's house to mine. So these will be switched out very soon as I'm getting ready for the track season. I'll be running these progressives for this year. 2021, my goal is really to kind of work on the safety of the car. get seats, harnesses, and a fire extinguisher installed on the inside of the car. So I'll probably be buying a new set of wheels next year for 2022. Tires, I'll be replacing the Kumos with a set of Continentals. Going to go with their Extreme Contact Sports for this season. When I do upgrade the wheels, which will likely either be with a set of Koenigs or Flying Miata's new wheels that they have on offer, I'll likely switch the tires as well, and we'll go with the Bridgestone RE71R, which is what Jeff currently uses, what he drove on him last year. I actually drove this car the last two events of our season last year, our September event at Dominion Raceway, and October at Summit Point Jefferson Circuit. So I do have some experience with this car, have some experience with the RE71Rs, really like them. On to brakes. So the rotors, the calipers on this are currently OE. I do have an extra set of calipers that I'll probably be working on here soon. They're going to need to be refreshed, may even paint them. So look for a video in the future where I do the restoration work on them and then potentially paint them, just to spice things up a little bit. Up front, we are rocking G-Lock R8 brake pads, sorry. And then in the rear, right now, just Napa Specials, so nothing special. This is the exact setup that Jeff used. I believe it's the exact setup he uses on his 94. And honestly, for where I am as a driver right now, there's no need to switch this up. Maybe in a year or two, I'll be changing the rears and going with matching G-Lock brakes at the rear for the pads. But for right now, for my experience, this works great for me. No issues with heat, no issue with brake fade or anything like that. Let's see what else. Suspension. So this has KYB AGX Sport Shocks with a set of Flying Miata lowering springs. So these are not coilovers; they just have lowering springs. Up front, I believe the springs are 318 pounds and 222 pound in the rear. Also installed is a set of Flying Miata, the version 1 butterfly bracing, and then Flying Miata sway bars in the front and rear. All of that, this will likely stay on here for quite a while. I am not in any condition where I'm pushing the limits of those components. So any updates on those will be well into the future. 2, 3, 4 years from now, if I even still have the car. So we'll see where we are with that. Have a nice purple tow bar right there, and then in the rear we just have the standard. Moving on to the rear real quick. I think when Jeff bought this, the car was purchased. It had an ISR exhaust on it. He did not like the sound of it, so he installed this. It is a catback by Cobalt Performance. It's a little loud, but I don't think as loud as his as the ISR that came with it. You can probably really see how dusty it is there. So this was actually one of 2 Miatas Jeff had. He also has a 94. If you've watched his videos, you'll know that when he bought this, he wasn't quite sure what he was going to do with it. If he was going to make this solely track duty and have the 94 for the street or go back and forth. Unfortunately, in November of 2019, he did put the 94 into a wall, which forced him to get this up and running for the 2020 season, and it's got 205,000 miles on it, and for a car with that many miles, it actually did a great job on track. She's certainly not the fastest car on track, especially at Summit Point, Maine, but It does exceptionally well on track, and I think for where I am right now will be a good base to start with and grow on. So with that, I'll pop the hood. We'll take a look under the hood, talk about the engine a little bit. and then move on to the interior of the car. All right, underneath the hood, nothing special really. We've got your standard Mazda BP 1.8 engine. This is a 1.8, so for those of you who are enthusiasts, this is an NA8. And as I mentioned earlier, I believe 205,000 miles on the clock right now. Those of you who've watched Jeff's videos know there is a mysterious, might be the right word, a mysterious oil consumption issue. We believe that issue is down to valve seals. So at some point, I don't know if we'll get it done before we're on track in March or if it will be after that. We're going to be replacing the valve seals in this. I think we're actually going to be replacing the valve seals in his 94 as well. But when I do get going on doing that work, I'll definitely be documenting that, going through the process of showing how to do a valve seal replacement. Do have an upgraded radiator. It's a Mishimoto. Don't know exactly what kind. This came with the car, not something that Jeff installed. And then really the only other is an oil catch can in the back. But other than that, nothing really special under here. No turbo. This is naturally aspirated, no forced induction. Thankfully, there was a anti-rust coating applied to this just before I got it, so everything hopefully in the engine compartment will stay nice and rust-free well into the future. But yeah, I think that sums it up for under here. Again, nothing really special, just your kind of standard run-of-the-mill Miata engine compartment. All right, we're in the car now. And interior is about what you'd expect for a 23-year-old car. It's in good shape, but it's showing some of that age. She is, after all, about 2 years away from being an antique and able to get antique tags. I think the most important thing for me is obviously going on track. Roll bar is already installed, so that's one less expense for me in terms of getting it ready to get on track for this coming season, which is great. One less expense, or an expense I can put somewhere else, which, as I mentioned earlier, will be in seats. So this is a hard dog. I believe it's their hardcore hardtop compatible version. If you've seen Jeff's videos or any of his pictures from when he bought it, this used to be purple plasti dipped, and it took him, I think, quite a while to get that plasti dip off. The previous owner, really loved the color purple, except for, as we saw up in the engine compartment, where the valve cover is painted on orange or a gold, whatever you want to call that. But the owner really had a thing for purple. I think there were even purple LEDs in place of the windshield wiper fluid ports when Jeff picked it up that shined purple light on the car. So yeah, purple. But yeah, the hardtop. So I think, I mentioned when I was outside talking about the wheels and tires. Big project for this year is going to be seats and harnesses. I'll kind of slide to the side here, but you can see stock seats, and of course, wherever it is in there, stock belts. So I will not have them in for this March event. So this is how I'm going to drive it. But by our next event is after that will be in May. And the plan will be to have the seats and harnesses in by then. I've actually started buying some of it. I have both harnesses, one of the seats, and then just need to buy the seat mounts to go along with it before I can get that work started. Seats I'm going with are going to be Sparco Sprints. The harnesses will be Sparco Formula 6-point harnesses, and then I think PCI is the mount maker who I'll be purchasing the mounts from. Basically, I think the Sprints are one of the few seats that actually fit in this car. I mean, there's not a lot of room in here, obviously. So those will hopefully be going in sometime between March and the end of April for that next event. And again, I'll try and capture that, do a video of getting those installed. As you can see, some some mounts for GoPros already, which is great. You know, like Jeff, I'll plan on, you know, recording my antics on track. Well, maybe we don't want to call them antics. And then there's another one behind this mounted to the bar for a camera to look out the back of the car. Let's see, anything else? Actually, let me pause this and turn the camera around, and I'll show you just the rest of the inside. Sorry, apparently I can't just flip things out. I have to actually turn the camera around. But, you know, look, once again, we get to our purple motif here. Got the purple shift knob and whatever this is covering the boot. I do believe that the standard leather shift boot is in there, but I'm not really a fan of either of these. So I will be replacing those. I actually have ordered the shift knob already. It's on its way. Don't know if I'll be able to get everything on by March, but I'm going to be ordering a new shift boot as well. And then just the, you know, straps for closing the doors, got them on each side red. That's actually going to be the kind of motif black and red that I go with here. And then up on the top of the tombstone, just a couple reminders, you know, how tight to tighten the lugs, how much pressure in the tires when they're hot, and of course, going back to the engine, I eat oil. Just a reminder so I don't forget to not check my oil after a session and, you know, really screw things up. But yeah, I think that about covers it for the interior of the car. So it's cold enough out here. I'm ready to get back inside, so we'll go inside and wrap things up. All right. Well, thanks again for checking this out. Hope you enjoyed it. I know it wasn't exactly the most enthralling or exciting video, but you know, this is just my way of kind of starting things out, introducing the car, introducing myself, and then hopefully we'll have some more, you know, more fun content to come, which I do have planned. You know, again, I mentioned we have our first track weekend coming up in March, 7th and 8th. You know, so content that I plan to be posting will range from you know, in-car video of our sessions, fast laps, you know, anything exciting that happens on track, and of course upgrade maintenance work that I happen on doing the car, which, you know, I already have several videos planned that will be coming in the near future. I think I mentioned the valve seals. Have some general stuff to get ready in terms of getting the car ready for the track. So front license plate holder, a tow bar for the rear of the car, and some other stuff. So when I do that work, I'll make sure to try and record that and post it. So, you know, there's some content coming on a regular basis here. In the meantime, if anybody has any recommendations on how I can improve what I'm doing here, any recommended upgrades to the car, any content you'd like to see, feel free to leave a comment in the video below. I'll make sure to read them and try and incorporate what you all say into my future videos. So again, thanks for stopping by and checking this out, and you know, give me a subscribe, a like, and you know, stay tuned for more content here in the near future. Thanks again.